The government needs more money, your money. So, if you owe the IRS back taxes, they can garnish your wages and levy your bank accounts. They can even seize your retirement or take your home. Don't let the IRS target you. Call the professionals at Tax Network USA. Their tax lawyers and enrolled agents are experts in powerful programs that may even help you eliminate your tax debt. For a free consultation, call Tax Network USA today at 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com. Our show is devoted to maintaining the legacy of Charlie Kirk, making sure his mission expands, grows, multiplies. And I'm really excited about this next guest because her name is Sarah Rogers. She's the Undersecretary of State, so the State Department, for Public Diplomacy. And I don't want to say too much. I'm going to kind of throw this over to Blake, but she is Charlie helped when was very involved with the transition and helping with certain appointees. And man, Charlie just completely was just really impressed by Sarah, and now she has been confirmed, and it's just a continuation of Charlie's legacy. But Sarah is somebody that we got to know via you, Blake. So the floor is yours. Let's welcome Sarah in, but I'm excited to listen to you guys. Of
course. Yeah. Well, welcome, Sarah. We've been looking forward to this for a long time. This is someone Charlie was asking for people who he should pitch to the administration. He asked me, he asked a lot of people. And I remember Sarah was one of the first two people that I sent a resume for. I said,
I think she was the first.
Something. Get her in something. She's extremely smart, extremely effective, extremely based, as we say. And, very sad. We were so looking forward to having her on the show. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately, she couldn't come on while she was just a nominee. The Senate was taking a very, very long time on these nominees, and we finally got her confirmed only after the tragedy. But Sarah, we're very, very glad to have you on the show right now.
Blake, Andrew, thank you so much for the warm welcome. It is a thrill and a privilege to be here. And I will try to live up to that glowing intro. I can't promise that I'll be smart, but I can promise that I'll be based.
All right. Well, so I think we should introduce people to what your job is, because, you're not just the Secretary of State. You're Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy. I don't know that people necessarily know what that is. But so let's just say, Charlie was America first. We are America first. What is the America first framing of American diplomacy?
Thanks very much, Blake. So before I get into that substantively, I'll just say it's absolutely correct that I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Charlie, for his trust and confidence, as well as that of President Trump and Secretary Rubio. And one of my greatest regrets is that I couldn't work with him longer on issues both dear to both of us, like free speech, during his life. So now my duty and my goal when I wake up every day in this job that I'm thrilled to have is to work in his memory for the president and on behalf of the American people to advance those goals and get done the things that Charlie would have wanted and we still want. So public diplomacy refers, when we think about diplomacy, we usually think about the relationship between the American government and foreign governments. Two ambassadors shake hands, sign a trade deal. But public diplomacy, which is my silo of the State Department, deals with the relationship between the American government and the foreign public. And this is a critical instrument of national security because when we have to do something like secure a strategic port or convince a foreign populace to use our AI or our 5G instead of China's, the public barometer matters a lot. And now today's public is very different than the one we confronted during the Cold War. Information during the age of mass media flowed downhill. So legacy authorities like governments, like legacy media would speak, and the masses in the mass media age would listen. But that's not the age we live in now. The public is online, they're more networked, they're more reactive than ever before. And predecessors of mine, both within state and other parts of the government, we now know, saw this democratized, chaotic information environment, and they panicked. They said, we've got to sanitize and censor everything. They even tried to censor Charlie, which I worked with him on and Blake on, as you guys know. And that is one of the vignettes, that whole Murphy Supreme Court case that we will be doing thorough truth and reconciliation on. We will be releasing documents as soon as we are able to complement the ones that have already surfaced through the Twitter files and other sources. And it is my job to hold out to the world what America's values and priorities are. And they aren't censorship anymore. They're America first. And America's crown jewel value, and Charlie knew this, he lived for it, he regrettably died for it, is free speech.
Yeah, so we actually,
that's what
we have a clip we want to put up here. So Charlie, he was starting to go abroad a lot more this year. He got to speak at Oxford earlier this year. And this is one of the things he said that got the most attention. Let's play clip 292.
In Britain today, 30 people a day are arrested for offensive posts on social media, according to The Telegraph. Praying silently within 600 feet of an abortion clinic can get you arrested in Scotland, as a 74-year-old woman named Rose just learned weeks ago. Members of Parliament scold British citizens for thinking they have the right to say things, say that they do not have the right to say things that offend Muslims.
So I think a lot of our, our foreign charm offensives, we've gotten used to seeing stuff, in the Middle East where we're saying, oh, why you should be more secular or more pro-gay or something. But now I think especially on the right, we've seen a lot of interest in, well, why don't we try to pressure Europe to embrace free speech instead of censorship? And do you see like a role in the Trump State Department where we're going to see more of that? And what are we fighting? Also lay out, what are we fighting against? What is going on in Germany and the UK that we all should care about as Americans?
Blake, that is a fantastic question that I could answer in a much longer segment than this. And Charlie obviously was very fired up on this too. So what's going on in the UK and Germany? What's going on is that there's no First Amendment, and there's a much more safetyist approach to speech that has really had some absurd effects that I think even sectors of these societies are becoming quite embarrassed of. So there's a case in Germany that Americans are shocked whenever I tell them about it, and so I talk about it whenever I can because our failure as free speech activists is that more Americans don't know it. This case regrettably involved a gang rape in a public park of a German teenager by 9 men. Those men were all convicted. There's no question of their guilt. During their trial, their expert witness said they'd committed the rape for cultural reasons. They were traumatized by the migration experience. So most of those rapists did not receive jail time because in Germany, if you profess to be a minor or considered to be under the age of majority by the court, it turns out you can commit gang rape and walk free. Big surprise. But someone did go to jail in connection with this gang rape, and that was a woman, because a woman texted one of the rapists and called him a disgraceful rapist pig, which of course is true. Of course he is. All 9 of them are. But in Germany, that's hate speech. So the woman was arrested, and the woman, not the rapist, received 2 days in jail. That's the kind of value system that it is our job to persuade people to abandon in favor of one based on the First Amendment. So that's Germany. In the UK, which Charlie just mentioned, there's actually a recent incident that occurred, following the tragedy, so Charlie couldn't comment on it. There's a relatively accomplished comedy writer named Graham Linehan who was arrested, detained, and jailed for joking on Twitter about transgenderism. And I'll paraphrase here because I don't have the tweet, but it's something like, if you see a man in the ladies' room, you can kick him in the nuts. And that apparently was, it was a threat of violence in Britain in the way that some of the Islamist demonstrations in the street apparently don't rise to. Also in Britain, as Charlie mentioned, we have people arrested for acts like praying silently or wearing a priestly collar within a visible radius of an abortion clinic, because the idea is in Britain, it's not merely a crime to do something like block the clinic doors, which might actually impede someone from obtaining an abortion. You're not even allowed to try to dissuade someone from obtaining an abortion.
It's very bad when our closest cultural compatriots, so to speak, are just our allies, are just embracing this ideology that's totally hostile.
I did not
speech.
realize, Sarah, that you can't wear a priestly collar near an abortion clinic. I guess the demons don't like it.